I'm not even going to pretend that this is a different time because I'm wearing the same thing. It's the same time. But I gotta get the thoughts out when the thoughts are there, you know? All right. What's up, dudes? Welcome back to Cuberly Chaos, where we are thriving, surviving, and sometimes diving. Today we're still thriving, since the last 5 minutes that I recorded. Today, this video, I want to really focus on where I plan, past, present, future. I guess that's the best way to describe it. And being okay with the past that has led you to the future. That's the tagline of it. Being okay with the past that led you to the future. Is that what I said? That's what I said. Because that's where I like it. Okay, so, sorry, I'm gonna fix this because I want to lean back. Okay. I think that going to Minnesota was a great decision for me. I don't regret it at all. I do not, because I always joke. Have you guys seen Into the Wild? Or watched the movie or read the book? There's the main character, Chris McCandless, if you haven't, is this guy in college, and he's got this super normal life, got a great family, great support system, and he's super smart. He's in college, doing all good. I think he's like a track star or something. And all of a sudden, one day, he just up and leaves, gets in his car, drives west. I think he was like in Ohio or something. I can't remember. But drives west, doesn't tell anybody, is like a missing person, quite literally. It was like back before we had all the, tech that we have now. Like, you can't just stalk people. And he was a missing person, changed his name. And they found out later that he went and worked in California for like 6 months under a different name, just, couch surfing. And then he saves up some money, drives up to Alaska, and tries to go out into the Alaskan bush to survive. He made it 3 days, a whole 3 days. But I always joked that from like high school on that I wanted to pull a Chris McCandless. Like, I just wanted to I don't know what it was. Like, there was just something, the adventure in me just wanted to get out and do something that made me so scared and so afraid that it was like exhilarating. And I think that's what moving to Minnesota was for me. And just becoming a flight attendant. Like, that was the main reason I did it, was because it was the opposite of what everybody thought I was gonna do. And it was the opposite of what I ever thought I would do. And it was quite literally scared the shoes out of me. It did. And then when I got based in Minnesota, I was like, that's terrifying. And I cried when I found out. I did. I won't lie. I cried for like an hour. And then I got over it, and I was like, this is what I've been wanting. This is what I've been asking for. Why am I so upset? So I was like, you know what? I'm not even, no ifs, ands, buts about it. I'm not going to try to transfer. I'm just going to go. I'm going to move there. I'm going to figure it out. And I did. And it felt good. It was hard. It was so hard. But looking back on it, I'm like, I did my Chris McCandless. Like, that's what I wanted. And to bring this back to reselling, so I had this whole idea that I was going to be a flight attendant and I was going to still do my business. That was a lot harder than I anticipated. Like, I knew it was going to be hard. Like, don't get me wrong. I totally, I had mapped it all out. I wasn't just, going into it like, yeah, it's going to be normal. Like, no. I had mapped it out. I knew exactly what was going to be my struggles, where I was going to struggle, blah, blah, blah. And I guess just on paper, it didn't look impossible. Whereas in person, it was literally impossible. Like, it was the challenges I had were all the challenges I had mapped out. Like, there wasn't any surprises. It wasn't a surprise to me. It was just, I just couldn't make it work. And I really struggled. And I think had I been near my inventory at first, it might be different, and it might not, honestly. Being a first-year flight attendant is rough. There's jokes about it. There is literally a Facebook group called the Broke First-Year Flight Attendant, because that's a thing. Like, being a first-year flight attendant at any company is just so hard. You don't have the seniority. You get the shit of the litter trips that they send you wherever they want. You're basically their B for your first year because you're on reserve, you're on call, and they send you wherever they want. And the pay sucks your first year. The pay goes up by seniority. The pay sucks. So you're quite literally poverty level. Like, you're living off food stamps. Like, you don't have any money. You're living off debt. Like, it's rough. And so I think that's where I went wrong. I didn't, like, the challenges that I had mapped out for being a flight attendant were like a 2-3 year flight attendant doing a business, not a first year flight attendant doing a business. And I think that's where I got confused, because I don't think anybody can prepare you for your first year as a flight attendant. Like, they try, they do. I'll give them that. They all try, they all attempt, and it just is really hard. And there's just so many things that you just don't even think about, that I won't even go into because you probably don't care. But that's where I struggled. And so honestly, I'd like to think that maybe if I was based at LAX and I was at home while I was trying to do my business, it'd be different. But honestly, it probably wouldn't. I probably would have had the same struggles of just I had to get used to this career before I could imagine doing anything else. Like, anything else that required, like, my full potential. Like, working at Pinky, I just showed up. Like, I didn't have to, like, proactively do things. And I tried a couple times, guys. Like, I literally was like, you know what, I'm going to do this. I'm going to set a schedule. And I set a schedule, and I just couldn't do it. And so it got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm just going to close the business. Like I said in the last video, I was like, I'm going to close the business. And that's when, like, I cried over it. There were many nights I cried over it because I just felt like a failure. I was like, why can't I do this? Like, this isn't that hard. Like, you've had harder, Chloe. Sorry, no, not gonna say it. But if you're listening to this on the podcast and you're not watching, I just did a little wink. But yeah, I was like, I've done worse. Like, there's no way to say it without it sounding dirty. Gosh, like in college, it was rough for me. I gotta stop. Okay, that's number 3 in a row. That's 3 in a row. We're done. Get your mind out of the gutter. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Grandma. But yeah, so I couldn't anticipate what was happening, and I just couldn't understand why I couldn't do it. And that's what was getting on me so much. And that's when I started to feel like, well, I'm not doing it. Then when I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do the business, I was like, I'm not doing enough. And I was like, I need to go to grad school. I need to do something. I need to find a career, a real career. You know, like not a flight, and that's not a real career. That's an easy career. That's not, which it's so not. That is a lie. That is 100% a lie. Like, it's not an easy job. Like, and the lifestyle's half of it. Like, it's not an easy lifestyle to live. It's rough. Like, look where I am. Like, why am I filming in a hotel room? Because I'm home once a week. My one day a week that I'm home, I spend it with my dog. I spend it doing laundry. I spend it getting ready for my next trip. Like, most of my work is remote that I have to do for reselling. It's all, I have to do it all remotely, not from home, which is one of the reasons it's so difficult. You can't be near your inventory all the time. So, like, I already don't live with my inventory, but this is, like, another level of not living with your, like, I had a video a while ago that was, like, don't live with your inventory. Like, it stresses you out, and this is, like, too far. Like, that was one extreme, living with your inventory, and then, like, this is another extreme of, like, not living with your inventory. You gotta find the happy medium. So I was like, I gotta go to grad school. I gotta find a career. I gotta blah, blah, blah. And I quite literally, like, just a couple days ago, I was talking with my dad, and, like, I had decided I was gonna go to grad school. I was gonna study for the GRE. I was gonna do all these things a couple months back while I was still in Minnesota. And I just was like, over and over, like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna do this. And I was like, so just dead set on it. Like, and I mean, I'm just that person. Like, once I decide something, like, I'm gonna go full force, even if I'm wrong. Like, I'm gonna die on that hill. Like, no, I'm not. But I just, like, once I get down a rabbit hole, I just go, and I don't really always stop to think about, like, okay, let's breathe for a second. Maybe there's a better option. I don't know. But that's why I have other people in my life that do that for me. And that's my biggest advice to you, if you are someone that is also like that, to have people in your life that know you, that are like, okay, maybe we slow down for a second, and then you can, like, fight them and be like, no, I'm not going to, and then 10 minutes later, after you thought about it, and after you thought it, you were like, okay, maybe you were right. And that's basically what happened, and that's what my dad does for me, and my mom as well, and a couple of my friends. They are my voice of reason sometimes when I get way too caught up in life. in my future, and I'm always so caught up in my future. It's annoying, man. It's really annoying. And so, yeah, so I decided all these things. I'm talking to my dad. I'm like, this is what I'm going to do, blah, blah, blah. You know, we went to lunch, and he was like, okay, that all sounds great. Ooh, I'm not going to tell you what to do, and I'm not going to tell you what not to do. I'm just going to tell you what it looks like from the outside. And I was like, of course, that's why I asked you. Lay it on me. And he was like, you want to go to grad school because you feel like you're not doing enough. And I was like, no. And he's like, I'm going to say it again. You want to go to grad school because you feel like you're not doing enough, not because you want to go to grad school. And I was like, ooh, yeah, you might be right. Ooh. And, like, I just sat there for a second. And then I started crying. Freaking emotion. Freaking emotion. They should be coming at the worst time, man. And I was like, why am I crying? Like, I literally looked at my dad. I was like, I don't even know I'm crying right now. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I don't. And he's like, it's because you know I'm right. And you feel like you're failing. And so you were like, I have to go to grad school because society has taught you that that is what success is grad school. And a grad school career. That's success. And I was like, ooh, you right. And he was like, why do you, like, how do you know you're gonna like the career you're going into? And he was like, the career you were talking about is a scientist, and it's sitting at a desk analyzing data. I'm sorry, but the Chloe I know will not be happy in that. You'll make it 2 days. And I was like, maybe one. And I was like, you're right. I just have this idea in my head that is success, and what I'm doing now isn't. And I was like, but I'm not good at that. I'm not good at being a scientist. I'm not good at sitting still. Have you guys watched my videos? Right now, I'm literally fumbling with this freaking watch because I can't focus. So, yeah, I'd make it a day at most if that was my full-time job. So I was like, well, why? And he was like, well, look at what you're good at. And I was like, okay. Nothing, Dad. No, I'm just kidding. I'm like, everything. No. So I was like, well, I'm good at being a flight attendant. And he's like, okay, why? And I, lay out, the qualities that I have that make me good at my job. The biggest one being I like it. I like my job. And I'm like, I'm good at my business. And he's like, so why'd you stop? I was like, I don't know. And he's like, okay, you stopped because you were focusing on other things. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, so maybe it's time to not do that. And I was like, maybe. And he was like, so you're good at your business, you like it? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, okay, so let's do that. He's like, focus on your entrepreneurial skills and focus on being a flight attendant. That's 2 things. You can do 2 things. And I was like, but I couldn't in Minnesota. And he's like, that's because you were trying to do 5 things. You were trying to do grad school. You were trying to have a social life. You were scared of living in Minnesota. You were trying to make money. You were working at Pink. He's like, that's not 2 things, Chloe. 2 things. All I'm telling you right now is flight attendant, business. Don't worry about anything else. You don't need to worry about money right now. You've got enough. You don't need to worry about your living situation right now. You're safe at home. You don't need to worry about being so far from us. You're here. You don't have to worry about coming home to see us. You see us every day you come home. Nothing else you don't have to worry about working at Pink right now. You're not doing that. Nothing else. He's like, being a flight attendant, your business. Those 2 things. That's all you gotta focus on. That's what you're good at. That's what you wanna do. That's what you're gonna focus on right now. And in a year, if that focus changes, that's fine. But right now, we're speaking for today. So this is the present part. That was the past. This is the present part. He's like, today, we're gonna focus on that. And do that until you don't want to anymore. Until we get to another moment like this where we have to sit down and reevaluate. And I was like, yeah, I can do 2 things. Heck yeah, I can. He was like, great, then do it. And yeah, that's so and after that conversation, it took me a little bit to not, get down on myself for how I was feeling, for feeling that at all. I can't win with myself sometimes, dude. I'm just like I'm damned if I do, damned if I don't with my emotions and thoughts. Like, I'm just like, oh yeah, how dare you think this? And then it's like, well, how dare you think that you thought this? how dare you? I'm just always in the wrong, and I'm always mad at myself for something. So I'm really hard on myself, and I know that. But I am good at letting it go. I will say also, I'm very good at letting it go. So I'm hard on myself for like a day, and then I'm like, yeah, okay, get over it, get up, put your big girl panties on, pull up your bootstraps, and go do the thing. So that's where we're at now. We're doing the thing. I mean, we quite literally are. I'm recording this right now, and I'm going to schedule it to go out, and it's going to be all fine and dandy. So I guess this was my life lesson of the video, me talking at a camera, was don't be afraid to just, make a decision. That's kind of where I was at. I was like, I'm not going to make a decision. And then all of a sudden I was like, I'm making one, and it's going to be the strongest one I've ever made, grad school, even though it made no sense. But it's okay because I made the decision. And one of my past directors that I was in theater for a while. I don't know if you guys know, but can you tell? Her biggest thing was strong and wrong. And I always say that. I always say that to everyone. I'm like, strong and wrong in life. It was for dance numbers and stuff, because if you're just like, marking it, they don't know that it's wrong and you can't correct it. However, if you like full on do the wrong move, it's pretty obvious, and it's like, okay, let's fix that, and then you can correct it. And I think that's very applicable to the rest of life. And I think that's like with making decisions, like just make a decision. If you never make a decision, you don't know what's wrong and you can't correct it. Whereas if you make a decision, which I did, grad school for a couple months, and I realized not the right decision for me, but that's okay. Strong and wrong. I made a strong decision and I went with it. We reevaluated, wasn't the right one, and that's okay. And now we have the correct one. If I had just never made a decision, I'd probably still be in that limbo phase of like, did you like my, sorry if you're listening, it's on podcast, you couldn't see my fun little dance move that I just did. Shameless plug to go watch my YouTube channel if you're not. No, I'm just kidding. You're all good. I'm glad you're here. So don't be afraid to be strong and wrong, to make a decision, then that'd be a good one. I make terrible decisions all day long. I'm still here. All right, we're good. I'm not dead yet. Emphasis on the yet. Sorry, that was really morbid. I'm sorry. Didn't mean for that to be that morbid. My God. But yeah, so don't be afraid to make decisions, and don't be ashamed of your past. That's the other thing. It's like, because I was hard on myself with like, I shouldn't have been in Mississippi. I should have transferred back to LA. I should have done all these things. And it was like, well, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be in this moment. I wouldn't be having this moment right now if I hadn't done that. Like, everything that you do changes your future. I mean, like, I don't know if y'all are into like, timeline shows, like the Flashpoint and like, the Flash and stuff. And they always say, you got to be careful with, and like that new show Quantum Leap, they just redid it. You got to be careful when you go back in time to not mess up the timeline, because you'll create an alternate timeline. The reason being, that just goes to show you that like every single thing you do, every little thing, picking up a penny off the ground and handing it to the person in front of you because they dropped it, like that will change the timeline. And that, I think people forget that. And so it's like, I wouldn't be who I am today if I hadn't done those things. I wouldn't have the knowledge that I have right now if I hadn't done those things. You know what? I partially regret getting the degree I got. But you know what? I wouldn't know that it wasn't for me if I didn't do it. And I wouldn't have the experience that I have if I hadn't have done it. And so it's like, that's why you just have to make decisions, get life experience. It could mean nothing later, but that's not true. It doesn't mean nothing. It means something because it meant something to you in the past. And your past is your future. Your past is your present. Past, present, future. It's all connected. You guys say manifest? It's like, Cal's like big line is like, it's all connected. Like literally though, it's all connected. It is. And so don't be ashamed of your past. Don't be ashamed of what you've been through, what you've done. Or if you feel like you've made a mistake, you wasted 50 years of life. You didn't waste it. You wouldn't be here today. I had someone once when I have life crises a lot, guys. I'm really dramatic. But I was having one time when I was first trying to figure out college. And someone had told me, look at life like a Christmas tree. And she was like, she was telling me about her life a little bit. And long story short, she was like, when I had to go back to zero and I had nothing, I still wanted a Christmas tree, but I couldn't afford the ornaments. So I just bought the Christmas tree. And then every year we could buy one ornament. I let my son pick one ornament and put it on the tree. And you know what? Every year, that ornament reminded us of that year and how we got a little bit more every year. We got another experience. There's an ornament. We got to go on this trip. There's an ornament. I got a new job. There's an ornament. And so you have all these ornaments, and it doesn't go away just because you're not doing, just because I lost that job doesn't mean I'm taking that ornament off the tree. No, that ornament's still a part. My family's Christmas tree, my mom's Christmas tree, she's not one of those bougie, walk into a store, it looks like you just someone specially decorated it for Disneyland. No, it's ornaments from our life. It's our lifetime tree, because it's, my first baby's first Christmas ornament, or the first time we had a soccer game ornament, it's a soccer ball, or we have a karate one for Noah's time in karate. We have different ones from different parts of life. Noah doesn't do karate anymore. None of us do soccer anymore. We still have the soccer balls on the tree. Because your life is a Christmas tree. Your life has meaning, and the ornaments all have meaning. Even if that chapter of your life has closed, it still existed in your life. And it wouldn't be that, when you step back and you look at all those, if you just had the one ornament, if you just kept taking off ornaments, you wouldn't have a full tree. And you'd look at the tree and be like, yeah, that's cool. But it's not this massive tree with all these ornaments. You take a look back and you look at all those ornaments and it's wow, that's such a cool tree. There's so many ornaments on there. That's awesome. And so everything you've done is all an ornament. So keep collecting your ornaments. Keep doing it. Maybe it's not the ornament you thought it was going to be, and that's okay. It still has a place on the tree. They all have a place on the tree. Even if it's the smallest little ornament, because it was a small amount of time and you realized, you know what, that's not it. Me looking into grad schools for 2 months, I did a lot of research. Now I know. I have all this research. If I ever want to go back and do it again, I don't have to redo the research. I know what I need. If I need the GRE, I know the programs I like. That's an ornament I'm going to put on the tree, because it's an experience I had now, and it's knowledge that I have. And it filled my Christmas tree. If I was going to edit this video, I'd put my Christmas tree right here. But I'm not, so it's not going to be there. Imagination. So yeah, I guess my big 2 points of this one were, don't be afraid to be strong and wrong, to make a choice, make a big one. And if you're going to fail, fail hard, fail fast, fail hard. It's another one. Strong and wrong, fail fast, fail hard. And don't be ashamed of your past. Your past, your present, your future, it's all connected. All right. Thank y'all for watching/listening. I appreciate you for being here. I hope this helped, or you got some entertainment over me just being a doofus the whole time. And that's pretty much my entire channel, over being real. And as always, stay gold and don't fall in an engine.